What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast and it's been a while but I'm finally back with another video and I have a new phone so I can actually see what I'm doing whilst I'm battling again, which is very nice. For anyone that doesn't know, my old phone had an issue where the display was almost showing like blobs of ink which was obscuring my screen, and slowly it spread it out to the point where I just couldn't see anything at all. But anyways, enough about that. In today's video I'm going to be showcasing some battles with Shadow Flygon running a forgotten coverage move in Stone Age which caught so many opponents off guard, helping me to flip matchups that I just shouldn't have been able to win. And I was also running Leafage on my Abomasnow specifically for the matchup up against Dugong, because honestly Dugong is my nemesis. It's like super bulky, it can make itself artificially even more bulky with Icy Wind debuffs, it has great coverage in Drill Run, and I typically build teams that are pretty weak to it as well, which doesn't help, including this backline. But I'm pretty sure today I only faced it 3 times with this team and I lost every single time, including one incredibly embarrassing loss where my Abomasnow was even aligned to it and I still ended up losing up against the Dugong in just a one-on-one matchup. So yeah, that was super disappointing. Overall, I still went positive with the team. I just wouldn't necessarily recommend Leafage on the Abomasnow. Also, before we get into the question of the day, I want to say a massive thank you for the insane support in my recent live streams, and specifically towards Bad Toad TTV, Colin L, Mike Daniel, Alan, Cool800 My Gamer, Chainsaw81, Roll the Dice, and A-Train, who all gifted 10 or more memberships in either of my last 2 live streams. There are also plenty more names that gifted smaller amounts. I am very grateful for everyone that contributed. I think we now have nearly 300 channel members, which means that I actually have to have 2 different pages displaying the channel members at the end of my videos now, which is pretty insane to think about. But also, I want to say Bad Toad TTV, Colin L, and A-Train, if you are watching this video, you all donated enough to request a specific future live stream theme. So if you have any ideas, please do let me know in the comments. But with that being said, let's finally get into the question of the day. Are there any Pokemon that you've been running this season with forgotten coverage moves that take opponents off guard? Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, so going into the first battle, Abomasnow into Talonflame, awful matchup for us. So we're going to go for 1 Leafage, then swap into my Goodra, and that will mean I will reach an Aqua Tail on the CMP type. Unfortunately losing CMP here, but they're locked in, so we can shield this. They do bait with a Fly, which is unfortunate, but they're going to have to shield an Aqua Tail as well, otherwise Aqua Tail will do big super effective damage. They're now going to swap out into a Dunsparce, and this is absolutely fine here. We're going to no-shield this. A Drill Run will do some decent damage, but it won't really put us into farm down range, or if they do commit to a farm down, they're going to have to take 2 more Aqua Tails. So going for the first Aqua Tail, the opponent does let that go through, but we make it to another Aqua Tail before they farm us down. An Aqua Tail from this range actually possibly would have got the KO there, so they end up using their final shield, and this is perfect for me because Shadow Flygon is such a devastating closer when all shields are down, because the coverage of Stone Age and Scorching Sands is just so strong in the current meta. We're just going to fully sacrifice the Abomasnow there, come in with the Flygon, get an energy advantage, and that's going to allow me to make it to the Stone Age. And of course, up against a Talonflame, Stone Age easily gets the one shot there. They're going to come in with a Gastrodon, and this is still fine for us because we've got Scorching Sands. Scorching Sands is not going to hit that hard, but it does debuff their attack, and the opponent realizing there's nothing they can do anymore, so they just concede the match. So GG's to opponent there. Into the next battle, we're going to see Ariados in the lead. So again, not a great matchup for us. We're going to say swap into our Goodra, and this time I definitely won't be shielding. They're probably going to go for a lunge here and debuff my attack, but that's okay. And then now we're going to come in with a Shadow Quagsire. So we're going to go for an Aqua Tail here. We could be running Power Whip, which might force a shield, but no, it doesn't force a shield there. And honestly, since we were debuffed, maybe they could live it, maybe not, I don't really know. But either way, we go and fire off another Aqua Tail here, and the opponent is going to farm up to back-to-back charge moves, but they're probably not expecting Leafage, so they go for the Aqua Tail there. We can come in with the Abomasnow, and we get the Snipe there before they can even react there. And we're going to come in with the Shadow Flygon. There's still all shields in play, but we're going straight for Stone Age. This is my only win condition, and the opponent does not respect it. We get the one shot, and then they just concede the match there. Literally, if they should have that was game over because there was just nothing we could do. We could probably make it to another charge move, but they could just double shield their Drifblim and we would have been absolutely screwed. But GG's to opponent there. Into the next battle, going to see a Wigglytuff in the lead now. This is a bit awkward here. This is definitely where we want to see it, but I'm thinking with Wigglytuff in the lead, a pretty common team right now is going to be double Ground in the back, either double Mudslap users or it will be Diggersby as one of those 2 Pokemon. But either way, we're going to stay in this matchup here. We have to stay in. We've got 2 dragons in the back, and now they swap into Gastrodon, and this is kind of a weird play here, but I'm going to swap Catch the Charge Move onto my Goodra. I probably should have called it onto my Flygon in all honesty, because unfortunately Goodra is okay here, but it's going to have a slightly better matchup up against, say, a Marowak if they have that in the back, because Arctel would be hitting for super effective. But now we're too low here. I thought maybe I could leave this matchup with back-to-back Arctels loaded, so that way we could fire one off into the Wigglytuff coming back in. But unfortunately, we actually don't get there. So we're going to come back in with the Abomasnow. The opponent is going to shield up the Icy Wind. We have to swap out there, but they do have that Shadow Marowak in the back, so Goodra would have definitely been better in this situation. They're going to go for a Bone Club. Bone Club going to grab my final shield. I overfarm as much as possible, firing off the Scorching Sands, and Scorching Sands doesn't quite do enough damage there, but honestly, even if we did get the KO, it wouldn't make a difference, because they can come back in with the Wigglytuff, get the Charm Farm down there, and they can just Charm Farm down my Abomasnow, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But GG's to opponent there into the next battle, another Talonflame in the lead. So once again, one Leafage, swapping into the Goodra, and again, going to go for the Arctel, but this time we win CMP. So I didn't actually realize that was an IV dependent thing here, but either way, winning CMP, and at this point, since we grabbed the shield advantage, I will let this go through, and they go for a fly there. So once again, not going to take us out there, but they come in with a Ferrothorn, and unfortunately Ferrothorn is a great sponge to all of this energy on the Goodra. Literally anything we run here would be resisted, even if we're running like Sludge Wave or Draco Meteor. It's all resisted, so definitely not ideal, but we can come in with our Abomasnow and we get a notification from Home Size Henry there, because I actually didn't realize, but when I'm in gaming mode on this phone, it doesn't block notifications like it did on my previous phone. So shout out to Home Size Henry there. I will watch that video eventually, but not quite yet as we're in the middle of a battle. But either way, we can now just let this move go through here. Going to go for a big double resisted Leafage farm down, coming out with a ton of loaded energy, and once again we've got a shield advantage, which is really nice for our Shadow Flygon. Of course, we're going to use that shield advantage straight away as we're going to shield up the Fly, but let's see, the opponent's going to come in with Ariados, and again we're just going straight for Stone Edge here. Do they respect the damage? No, it gets the one shot there, and this is game over. We're going straight for Scorching Sands. We end up throwing alignment. It doesn't really matter. I thought maybe they throw it immediately there. They don't, but it doesn't matter. We actually drop their attack. They're going to have to throw a Charge Beef. We've got an Icy Wind loaded anyway, so all shields are down on the opponent's end. We go for one extra Leafage just in case, for whatever reason, the Icy Wind without that one Leafage didn't get the KO there, because that would still be good timing there and avoiding the damage from the Incinerate. But either way, Icy Wind gets the KO and I'm able to take that game. So GG's top opponent there into next battle, and honestly, this is quite an awkward lead matchup for us. I was hoping they would just swap out instantly, thinking, oh my gosh, they're going to be on Powder Snow, we've got to get the heck out of here, but nope, they stay in. And you might be thinking as well, why didn't I shield that first Aerial Ace? If I'm going to debuff them with the Icy Wind, the next one's going to do less damage, but my thinking was they could just go for an Aerial Ace, shield up an Icy Wind, and then just swap out and clear that debuff anyway. So I figured, you know, I might entice them to stay in this matchup if we don't shield that first one, and you're going to see their team was actually super weak to Abomasnow. So if I was running Powder Snow there, then honestly, I think Abomasnow could have just fully swept their entire team. As you're going to see, the final Pokemon is also very weak to Abomasnow. But either way, going to no-shield this. I figured they farmed up to back-to-back Hydro Cannons. They're probably just going to go straight Hydro here, so that's fine with me. I'm hoping we can just come in with Abomasnow and get the Leafage farm down here. This is the advantage of Leafage here. We can actually go for a full farm down, but we still don't leave with the move loaded. We're going to swap back into Flygon. I'm hoping it's just an Aerial Ace, but the opponent full sends the Energy Ball. That does huge damage, and there is a Gastrodon, which, of course, Abomasnow absolutely deletes with Leafage, but unfortunately, we're way too low there, so the opponent's able to take us out with one Mudslap and take that game. But GG's to opponent there into next battle, another Talonflame in the lead. This time, we're going to swap out, and the opponent does swap out. They don't stay in, they don't fire for Charge Beef. They swap straight away into their Licky. So, going to go for an Octotel here, and they farmed up quite a lot of energy, so I'm actually going to shield the first move. The opponent goes for a Shadow Ball there, which might imply they're not running Body Slam. I think Shadow Ball is maybe just ever so slightly more energy efficient. I'm actually not certain on that. But either way, at this point, I'm thinking if it is just another Shadow Ball, I should just barely live this. But can we go for a full Dragon Breath farm down? Yes, we are able to do so. And as well, if they come back in with Talonflame, we can go straight for an Aquatail. Now, honestly, I would much prefer if they shield, and they do shield this. So hopefully Shadow Flygon will still be in here. We can, of course, shield this Charge Move. They might not be expecting the Stone Edge. They full send the Brave Bird there, and I make a huge mistake. I knew this. Like, as soon as they threw a charge route, I was like, I have to bank the Stone Edge before we swap out, regardless of what they come in with. And then I didn't do that, so huge misplay. So what I'm actually going to do is stop attacking altogether. They can fire off a charge move here. Body Slam still won't get the KO, and at this point, it actually doesn't really matter if they farm me down or not. I should go for the farm down there instead. We come out with back-to-back Icy Winds. Of course, only going to get off one, but it doesn't really matter. We debuff their attack to the point where a Fly will not get the KO here, but we get to the Stone Edge anyways. A Stone Edge will, of course, get the KO up against the Talonflame, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's top opponent there made that one slightly more difficult than it needed to be, but either way we come out with the win, and into the next battle we're going to see Malamar in the lead, so this is a bit tricky for us. I'm going to swap there, try to catch a superpower. Unfortunately it doesn't work as the opponent holds onto their energy. I mean, it makes sense, it doesn't really make sense to go for a superpower immediately, so I guess maybe farming up to back-to-back charge moves was their intended play anyways, but either way they come in with Ariados, we go for an Aqua Tail there, and we're able to make it to another Aqua Tail before the opponent throws their energy, so that's pretty nice for me, and the opponent just going to fully sacrifice the Ariados, which is definitely a strange play here, but maybe that's going to work out for them. We're going to come in with the Abomasnow. Unfortunately, we were just one leafage away from the Icy Wind, so I'm going to shoot out the foul play here, and I'm going to throw straight away. So I'm going to go for that Icy Wind, going to debuff their attack, and then I'm going to swap into my Shadow Flygon, and the opponent comes in with a Shadow Kanto Marowak. So again, going for the Scorching Sands. Scorching Sands will do pretty big damage in this matchup. It puts them into farm down range. We also debuff their attack, and they're one away from back-to-back Bone Clubs here, so I'm going to no-shield this, and we can go for the leafage farm down, and at this point it's going to be super close. Can they make it to back-to-back superpowers? If they're there, if this is a superpower, then it will of course debuff their defense, which means the leafage that goes through gets the KO, and I'm able to take that game. But if Leafage didn't quite take them out there, I would have thrown a charge move on CMP, because I think Abomasnow probably wins CMP there, and if it does, then of course, then we would have grabbed a shield and dealt 1 damage through that shield, and possibly that would have been enough to get the KO. But either way, into the next battle, we're met with a Chestnut, which unfortunately does wall the energy on our Arguja, but I wait for them to superpower, so that means these Arctails, whilst they're still resisted, they don't do much damage, they will do ever so slightly more damage up against this Chestnut. Maybe I could have shielded and flipped this matchup here, but either way, going to come in with the Abomasnow, shield once, and then go for a full leafage farm down. But the opponent's going to swap back into their Shadow Sudowoodo, which is a very spicy pick, by the way. I'm going to shield. It could be a Trailblaze. It is the Trailblaze there. The opponent is, unfortunately, switch locked, so we get a full farm down. But let's see what the opponent has in the back. They've still got a 2-shield advantage against us, and they're going to have a Shadow Machamp, which is definitely not ideal for us. We're running Scorching Sands and Stone Edge, so unfortunately they will very easily outpace us before we make it to back-to-back charge moves, and that's just going to be costly here. Cross Chop gets the KO. We can come back in with a Abomasnow. If I was running Dragon Claw and I got off back-to-back Dragon Claws there, you can see I would have made it to the Icy Wind first, but unfortunately they've still got a shield, so of course they go for the Cross Chop gets the KO, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But GG's top opponent there into the next battle, getting a notification that my phone was delivered whilst I'm playing on my new phone. Like, I realised it's been delivered, I'm literally using it right now. But anyways, again, a matchup where unfortunately Abomasnow not really great with leafage there, as we don't have any fast move pressure whatsoever. I realised they were probably just going to go straight for a Feather Dance there, but unfortunately it does mean they can come in with a Quagsire, and they don't really need to shield anything. Even if I was running Power Whip there, it wouldn't get the KO anyways, because we were double debuffed, and now they can go for a huge farm down. But once again, they might not have realized we're running leafage, so if the opponent goes straight for a Stone Edge here, they will not make it to back-to-back Stone Edges. So they go for the Stone Edge, and this means we can go for that leafage farm down, and let's see what the opponent wants to do. They come back in with Pidgeot, but they swap into Poliwrath, hoping to catch the charge move there, but unfortunately for them, it is very hard to catch charge moves when you're running a 4-turn fast move. Unfortunately, they do shield the first move, but I throw Icy Wind on the CMP tie. Unfortunately for them, again, once again, the counter nerf does mean that they are slower to charge moves, so I win CMP there. Icy Wind gets the KO. We can come in with our Flygon, and all I have to do is shield up the Icy Wind here. Pidgeot will not make it to another charge move. They're probably going to swap out as soon as they throw the charge move here, but it doesn't matter. We've got the Stone Edge loaded. We are debuffed, but we just don't care. Stone Edge gets the KO. We can commit to the full Sun Attack farm down. I'm able to take out the Poliwrath, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's top opponent there into the next battle, another Malamar in the lead. So last time, of course, we tried to catch a superpower, it didn't work out for us. So this time, we're actually going to stay in this matchup, and we can go straight for an Icy Wind here. The opponent does not throw that immediately, so Icy Wind is going to be no-shielded. And at this point, I'm going to shield up the charge move coming from the Malamar as they go for a foul play bait, which is unfortunate. We then swap into our Goodra, and the opponent banks their energy, and they come in with a Dugong. So I think this is the first Dugong that I've faced with this team so far. Unfortunately, not really aligned to the Pokemon that I want it to be aligned to, but of course, keeping away from my Shadow Flygon is great. The opponent will overfarm just slightly. Gonna fire off the charge move there. They did shield the first charge move, which is quite interesting. We can now come back in with the Abomasnow, and we are just barely able to outpace them to the Energy Ball before they do make it to another Icy Wind. Now, Energy Ball grabs a shield here, and this is actually very awkward. I kind of need them to no shield there. I realized if I shield this, they're going to come back in with the Malamar, go for the snipe, and I kind of wanted that, but I didn't realize that Malamar was already so low. So unfortunately, Flygon doesn't really get a huge energy advantage, meaning we're taking so much damage from the Ice Shards here. We can reach the Scorching Sands. Scorching Sands gets the KO, and they've got a Toxapex in the back. So typically, this is a great matchup for us, but unfortunately, we're just not quite going to be able to take them out with the Scorching Sands, and they will make it to a Brine. Of course, with the Ice Shard damage, Brine will very easily take us out there, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But GG's to opponent there into the next battle. We're going to see a Shadow Feraligatr in the lead. So this is a good matchup for us. And the opponent is going to stay in with Feraligatr as well. And they're going to fire off a Hydro Cannon. So honestly, they might be very weak to a Abomasnow and just looking to land any damage that they can, which makes sense there. So of course, if they did farm up to a potential Crunch or an Ice Beam, I possibly would have shielded. But they come in with a Mana Buzz, so this is still fine with me. I do have a slight energy advantage, meaning I can reach an Icy Wind here. Icy Wind, going to be no shielded. It does, of course, debuff their attack, and I assume they're probably going to swap out of this matchup immediately when I come in with the Goodra, and they come in with a Gastrodon. So yes, they were triple weak to the Abomasnow there, but we can now go for an Arcatel. Arcatel going to be shielded by the Gastrodon, which is quite interesting. Now they do farm up to the potential Earth Power, so I will respect it. They bait with a Body Slam, but that's absolutely okay with me. We can no shield the next one. Body Slam not going to do too much damage here, and I should be able to go for an Arcatel and then commit to a full farm down. So of course, going to go for the Arcatel. The opponent no shields it, and they swap back into Mana Buzz. Now we're going to swap into our Shadow Flygon, and again I think this is going to be a matchup where they just probably won't expect Stone Edge. Of course, Dragon Claw not going to do that much damage. Mana Buzz, a very bulky flying type Pokemon, but Stone Edge will connect. It gets the KO. They come back in with the Gastrodon, and we can commit to a full Sand Attack farm down, taking out the Gastrodon, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to opponent there into the next battle. Gastrodon in the lead this time around. They say swap into Dugong, and this is perfect. We've got Leafage here, so this is exactly what we want. Now they will go for an Icy Wind straight away, but that actually just gives me a full Leafage in for free, which is definitely fine with me. I'm now going to fire off the Energy Ball here. Maybe I should have baited. Icy Wind is very risky to bait though, because of course it is double resisted, but it does actually allow them to outpace me to the next charge move, and that is the disadvantage of Leafage, is that the energy generation is actually not that great compared to Powder Snow. It's only slightly worse, but that does make a difference. And here we go for a second Energy Ball. It gets shielded, and then we don't even make it to the Icy Wind. So we somehow lost switch advantage up against the one Pokemon that I was running Leafage for, because I wanted to make sure that I could guarantee that matchup there, and we still end up losing, and that's just so embarrassing because I knew they had a Gastrodon there. They come in with a Mana Buzz, so again, Abomasnow was absolutely golden up against that team, but I just, well, a combination of maybe not baiting there, but also just Abomasnow not being as good as I was expecting it to be. And unfortunately, we're not really in a great position here because we didn't chip any damage up against the Mana Buzz, so I need 2 Stone Edges to get the KO there. Definitely couldn't settle for just a Scorching Sands. And of course, Gastrodon coming back in, Body Slam gets the KO there. I'm not running Power Whip, so no one charge move will take out the Gastrodon, but from this range, a Body Slam will be enough damage to take out the Goodra, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But GG's to up over there into the next battle. Going to see more Peko in the lead, so this is pretty good for me. Of course, all 3 Pokemon are going to be resisting the electric type damage, so I'm going to no shield this, but the opponent's going to go for the Aura Wheel, and it still does some decent damage there despite being resisted. But I can of course just go straight for an Icy Wind. Icy Wind going to debuff their attack back down to the normal attack that it would usually have, but we are going to come in with the Goodra. I'm going to no shield anyways, and Aura Wheel does big damage there. Of course, it was now the dark typing, so it is neutral damage there. They come in with a Azumarill there, I forgot what this thing was called for a second there, which is a bit awkward because this is a very common Pokemon, and it has been since Season 1 of the Go Battle League, but either way, they don't actually commit to a full farm down there, and I'm thinking, can a Abomasnow come in and just go for a full Leafage farm down? It will be very close. I'm used to running the Shadow Abomasnow where this definitely would be possible, but unfortunately the damage from the non-Shadow just not quite enough to get the farm down, so I throw at the last possible second, Icy Wind gets the KO, and they come in with Ariados, so we're going straight for the Icy Wind here, and then I will be swapping into my Shadow Flygon, and honestly that Icy Wind doesn't really do much damage here. I need to no shield, but they are debuffed, so I'm going to no shield. They go for a Trailblaze, and the opponent tries to make a catch there, which is absolutely huge for me because I don't have anything to bait with, so now we can just full send the Scorching Sands. Scorching Sands from this range gets the KO, and I'm able to take that game. So GG to opponent there into the next battle, another matchup where unfortunately having Leafage just doesn't really help us whatsoever. We're going to say swap into Goodra. Unfortunately they can just barely outpace us by one turn to the Exeter, as it does take one turn to swap out, and honestly I have to say Goodra felt like a pretty underwhelming Pokemon. I'm used to running like say Shadow Dragonair as a say swap when I'm running double dragons, and just the impressive damage from the Dragon Breath and the Aqua Tails or Body Slams, which obviously not going to do as much damage this season, just make it quite easy to flip matchups. But even two super effective Aqua Tails landing up against the Diggersby, not enough damage to get the KO there, and a Fire Punch does big double super effective damage, and they've got a Toxapex in the back. So honestly, this is not looking very good for us whatsoever. I throw at the last possible second there because I'm going to give them slightly less farm. I debuff their attack because Shadow Flygon kind of needs it, but it's just game over anyways. They swap instantly back into low kicks, and there's just nothing we can do here, so I'm just going to concede the match, save the opponent some time there. GG's to that opponent there, into the next battle. Going to see a Shadow Drapion in the lead, so going to say swap into our Goodra. And yeah, honestly, I also just played out these matches quite poorly, so we're going to go for the Thunder Punch. Thunder Punch is going to be no shielded here, and my thinking is that Shadow Flygon kind of needs either a shield advantage or just all shields down, or it needs the opponent to just not guess that we're running Stone Edge for it to do well in the back. But I don't really want to use a shield on my say swap when I probably should use a shield there and maybe grab a shield back from the opponent, because obviously the less shields that are in play, the more like impactful a Shadow Flygon will be. But also, again, if we use a shield and the opponent decides, actually, you know what, we're going to let them have switch advantage, then Shadow Flygon at a shield disadvantage isn't really going to do good. But either way, two shields are in play once again. We're just full sending the Stone Edge. Can we land it again? No, unfortunately we're not able to do so this time, and I can't shield this because if I shield this, they can just commit to a full Astonish farm down, so I no shield there. I'm hoping we can win CMP, but we don't win CMP, and at this point we have to just let this go. Of course, Icy Wind from this range takes out Abomasnow, and we do lose that game. But GG top over there into the next battle, another Wigglytuff in the lead, so this might be a double ground team once again in the back. So let's see if we play this the same or if we play this differently. Either way, gonna go straight for the Icy Wind, throwing immediately after 7 Leafages, as that is good timing as well, and the opponent actually lets that go through, so now I'm feeling a lot more comfortable here. The opponent will fire off an Icy Wind of their own, but that's fine with me. We're now gonna overfarm just slightly here. I realise we don't actually need that much HP to be remaining to still do pretty well up against a Mud Boy that comes in, but the opponent's going to come in with a Feraligatr, so it might not be double ground, well, it's definitely not double ground as we're seeing a Feraligatr, but it might not even be like a Gastrodon either. But either way, we're going to go for the Icy Wind. Icy Wind debuffs their attack, and if they're running Ice Beam, I have to no shield it here because of course they are debuffed. Ice Beam does huge damage, but it's not quite enough damage to get the KO, so now we can come in with the Shadow Flygon, and I can live a Brine, but I don't really want to put us into farm down range for that Shadow Feraligatr with the Shadow Claw. So instead, we're gonna shield that, gonna go for a Scorching Sands, and then I go for a slight undercharge here, and that will allow me to come out with just slightly over 50 energy, and this means I can go for another Scorching Sands into Feraligatr coming back in. Scorching Sands grabs a shield, and now we can swap back into Goodra, and the opponent has to throw a Charge Beam here, otherwise I would reach a Charge Beam of my own. And of course, Hydro Cannon gets the KO, but we can come back in with the Shadow Flygon, and I am able to outpace them to the Scorching Sands. Scorching Sands gets the KO, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's top opponent there into the next battle, going to see a Shadow Marowak in the lead. So a great matchup for us. The opponent safe swaps into an Ariados, and honestly we don't really have a great response here. I'm thinking, you know what, if they go for a line straight away, maybe they're not expecting a Stone Edge to one-shot them, so we will just full send it here, and hopefully the opponent doesn't respect the damage, but Stone Edge gets shielded, and honestly at this point, I don't think I can maintain alignment here. I will of course shield this, and I will be able to make it to another charge move, but actually I'm not going to make it to the Stone Edge before they make it to another move, so I'm actually going to go for a Scorching Sands with double double debuff. This wouldn't get the KO there, but they end up shielding anyways, but they don't commit to a full farm down. So that is kind of good for us. They go for a lunge here. It's still a bit of an awkward situation to be in. The opponent is going to bank a ton of energy and then swap back into the Marowak. So we're going to go straight for an Aqua Tail here. Maybe I shouldn't have thrown this at all. Maybe I should have just banked the energy and swapped into my Abomasnow. And we try to catch a Bone Club. The opponent reads me like a book there, holds onto the energy, fires off the Rock Slide, which does more damage. And we actually don't even come out with an Icy Wind loaded either. So that is definitely not ideal for us, especially since the opponent has back-to-back charge moves already loaded. So they go for a lunge there. Lunge gets the KO. And unfortunately, I just can't really shield this, so we're going to no shield. They go for another lunge, and they've got a Dugong in the back. So another Dugong, another loss. I mean, it wasn't really the Dugong that took us out there. It was just the tricky Ariados. But either way, GG's to the opponent there into the final battle of this video, I do believe, leading into a Dunsparce. We're going to stay in initially, then swapping into my Goodra there. And the opponent will, of course, go for a drill run, chipping first before swapping into a Gastrodon. So this is fine with me. I'm going to fire off the Aqua Tail, and once again, we did farm up to a potential Power Whip before throwing, and we actually do grab the shield this time, which is very nice for us. And as well, they actually don't commit to a full farm down. Instead, firing off the Body Slam gets the KO, but we can come in with the Abomasnow, and of course, I can no shield this. Worst case scenario, it's like an Earth Power or a Water Pulse, which is still resisted. Doesn't do much damage there. We get the farm down, and we come out with quite a decent amount of energy loaded as well. They're going to come in with a Talonflame, but we can swap into our Shadow Flygon. The opponent will throw a charge move. We're definitely going to have to respect the damage here. The opponent goes for the fly. They're then going to swap into Dunsparce, and unfortunately I end up throwing on alignment there. Once again, just timing very weirdly up against Rollout because its fast move animation is like one turn behind what it should be. But either way, even with that poor timing, I can commit to a full Sand Attack farm down just before they make it to the next charge move. And of course, we can go straight for Stone Edge here. The opponent, are they going to respect the damage? Absolutely not. We take out the Talonflame, and I'm able to take that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. And if you want to take your support even further, you can now become a channel member with perks including early access to new videos, shoutouts at the end of each video, custom loyalty badges, and custom emojis to use in the comments. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that has already become a channel member. Your support is greatly appreciated, and with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.